going on, guys? So today we are going to go over a few things that I want to talk about when it comes to dieting. So I just got back from the supermarket and I'm just going to go through a few things I get whenever I'm dieting. First thing I always like to get is some sort of fruit. So I like bananas, are my personal favorite, whatever. Fruit is just another carb that you can use instead of doing like chocolate or some sort of like snack that's gonna affect your body in a certain way. Then the next thing I'd like to get is tuna. Tuna is super high in protein and super low in carbs, so if you're dieting, it's perfect because obviously you're trying to keep those carbs low, fats low, yada yada. So yeah, 4 of those. Then the next thing I got steak. But when I get steak, I don't get like the processed kind, the one that has like a bunch of fat in it. I don't know if you guys can look right there. Oh, it's in French, but it's 2.3 grams of fat and 23 grams of protein. So it'll be a great source of protein and low fat, low fat and obviously no carbs. And that's the main thing you want to look at whenever you're doing any sort of dieting. You just want to make sure you're keeping the carbs low, the protein high, or keep the carbs like, what is it? Not medium. Some sort of, yeah, medium, protein high, fat lows. That's how the book works. The next thing I got is 5% beef. So obviously there's a bunch of ones that you can get, but this one has 21 grams of protein and 5 grams of fat. So it's still low in fat and obviously there's no carbs in it. Another protein I can get is any sort of chicken, right? So chicken, another one that's just like super high in protein. And finally, or with the last few, I'm gonna start going over carbs that you can get. So if you're broke or you don't have a lot of money and you just want to find any sort of thing, you can get potatoes, right? Potatoes are super cheap and they're super good for you as far as carbs go. If you get sweet potatoes, it's obviously better because it has a higher glycemic index. But yeah, you can do any sort of one that you would like. The next thing you can get is rice. I get these packs because I'm lazy and I don't want to actually cook the rice. But if you don't, then get these packets. And yeah, I always go for basmati, or jasmine, or brown, or white. Brown and white are pretty much the same. I think everyone makes a huge deal as if they're really different. And to be honest, I take white over brown just because it has a higher glycemic index, so I want to like have that after my workout. This is just something I get whenever I'm like super tired, but I always get the Ultra Zeros if I get a Monster. And so the thing that you want to look at whenever you're getting energy drinks is the sugar content. The sugar content is usually going to be super high on them because they like to include, that sugar is the thing that gives you the boost, right? So if they don't use that, then they have to use some artificial flavoring or some sort of thing like that. The next thing I like to get, so a lot of people try to get juices, right? So I try to stay away from juices as much as possible because they're usually filled with sugars, which turns into carbs, which will stay in your stomach, right? So this is strictly, this is again in French, but it's strictly fruits, right? There's no other thing in here other than fruits, and it's just something that energizes in here. And the energizing thing is guarana. It's like 2 times more potent than a coffee bean, whatever. So it has 12 grams of carbs, 10 grams of sugar. The sugar is from the freaking fruit. I can't remember. Yeah. So don't get cranberry juice. Don't get what are the other ones that are pretty high in sugar content? Any of those mixed ones that you see. So like the orange, mango, pineapple juices usually are like filled with sugars. And then the last thing I get is organic eggs. The thing with eggs is they are pretty high in fat if you keep the yolk in there. So what I like to do is whenever I cook, I just like to do like 1 or 2 eggs out of my 5 eggs in total. I like to keep the yolk, and it'll keep good amount of fats and it'll keep a good amount of protein, and it'll allow me to function well throughout the day. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this. When you're dieting, you don't want to pay attention. Obviously, people want to say that like, yeah, you should be eating all these like healthy foods. Your body doesn't know what a healthy food is. Like, yes, it'll probably process better in the body, but if you go based off the macros, right? If you're really going for a diet instead of a healthy lifestyle, then just look at the things that are good on macros. So good on your fats, proteins, and carbs, right? If you're not trying to live a healthy lifestyle and you're trying to shred or you're trying to bulk, just pay attention to macros. So like the things I've been reading off to you, how these steaks have like 23 grams of protein and 2.3 grams of fat. Those are the things you want to look out for. Your body doesn't know how to differentiate a cookie from a banana, you know? If they both have 5 grams of sugar, they both have 5 grams of sugar, and it's going to process it the same way. Now, will you feel more bloated with a cookie? Probably, but it's not necessarily going to make you any more shredded. You get that? So, yeah, that's just something I wanted to come on here and talk about. A lot of people are going through summer shredding right now, and they need good foods to eat. And again, I recommend just loading up in proteins. And another thing I'll tell you is this. If you want to do any sort of diet, if you're going to do something like this as well for carbs, so this is oatmeal, and I just get plain oats. And then this is a complete bread, so pretty much it's like protein bread almost. There's like barely any carbs, and like it's pretty much equal carbs to protein. So it's like 6 grams of carbs, 4 grams of protein. But one thing is this, if you're really trying to shred down, there's 2 things you need to stay away from. And these are them. You don't want to get pasta because pasta is loaded with carbs. That is if you're shredding, right? If you're bulking, obviously eat as much pasta as you fucking want. And cereal. Cereal is obviously usually loaded with sugars. This one happens to be healthier, but it doesn't make it any better. Like look, just in 100 grams of cereal, I'll put a picture on the screen of how much 100 grams is. There's 59.6 grams of carbs, there's 7.2 grams of fat, and 10.2 grams of protein. Like, this is still not good. I've been bulking, so I obviously have the opportunity to eat things like this. But if you're not, then don't, like, stay far away from cereal. Finally, to finish this whole video off, I want to talk about how you can make these foods better. It's very simple on how you can cook them, but it's about making them tasty, right? You want to have a diet that's going to be sustainable. You don't want a diet that's going to just like, you're going to eat really well and then you're going to eat like shit and then you're going to go on this downfall and it's not going to work for anybody. So the best thing that you can do is, like I use this, it's obviously all organic and shit. It's oregano, basil, and I don't know what romarin is. I don't know what the hell that is, but yeah, that's what I use to season it. And you can also use non-fat dressings, which I have a lot of, and you can also use Walden Farms makes a bunch of dressings that you can put on there. So I will, yeah, I'll leave the description to the Walden Farms stuff because that's amazing. And you can also get toffee, what is it? It's like 0 calorie, 0 fat, like mustard, honey mustard, and like all these other things I saw on Brandon Harding's video, so I'll put those in the description. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys like this little food haul, and I hope all your summer shreddings are going well. But for right now, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do what you want to do, and that's a wrap.